From Classrooms to Careers is presented by the Spring Branch ISD Alumni Foundation. This series is made possible through the generous support of First Community Credit Union.
Welcome to Six Schools, One Legacy, From Classrooms to Careers, where we highlight the stories of exceptional graduates from the 6 high schools of the Spring Branch Independent School District. Each conversation explores the path from student life to professional life, the lessons, the challenges, and the moments that shape the journey. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Spike Spencer, a graduate of Northbrook High School in 1987. Welcome, Spike.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I want to know, I know our listeners are dying to know, were you born with the name Spike?
No. I was born with the name Charles, and I went through as Chuck all through high school. And then I was given the name Spike the year 1987, in the fall, because I was working at Cuellar's Mexican Cafe over in the Galleria. And Sam, the bartender, called me, "You're Spike, you're Spiky. I'm just going to call you Spike." I said, "Okay, that sounds pretty good. I like that. I'll go by that. I'll get more tips that way." You know?
Yeah, that's great. So talk a little bit about your childhood. I know that you started out in Houston, but you moved away and came back. Talk a little bit about your journey.
Sure. So I was born in Spring Branch Hospital, and we lived there in. I went to Spring Shadows Elementary, kindergarten. I still remember Mrs. Lingenfelder, and there was one kid who couldn't name her name called Lingenfeather. And we lived in the apartments right behind there between Spring Shadows and Northbrook. I still remember watching Godzilla on the TV in there. Anyway, so we lived there, and then my dad was from Oklahoma City, so we went kind of back and forth. We had a house in Oklahoma City, his family house, so we went and we lived there. And I went to kindergarten and first grade through ninth grade. I went to Oklahoma City and then out in Mustang, Oklahoma, in the middle of nowhere. Basically, I tell people, if you saw Footloose, that was my town. It was like that, you know. There was nothing there, and I wanted to dance, you know. So it was that's a real deal.
And so
then we moved back. Oh,
yeah.
sorry,
So you moved back, and you ended up moving back into Spring Branch.
Yeah. So there's a divorce in the family. I went with my mom, and our family, all my cousins and my aunt and everything, lives right over there by Northbrook Junior High. So we came and we lived in a little area on the other side from Northbrook to where the Dairy Queen is or was, over on that area. And lived there and went to Northbrook. That was it. I used to walk home. So yeah.
So you got to Northbrook when you were in 10th grade?
I started, I finished ninth grade in Oklahoma and then came here and started 10th grade.
And you in your bio, it said a little bit that you played a little tennis when you were in Oklahoma.
I did. I fell in love with tennis, and I played it competitively for a few years. Got to like 11th in the state when I was like 12 or 13 and somewhere in there. Yeah. And so that's whenever I came to Northbrook, I ended up playing tennis. I played tennis in high school in Oklahoma, in Mustang as well.
Okay.
So,
but not at Northbrook at first?
Well, at first, it wasn't until the spring. So I had all this time until the spring. It's amazing how long those semesters are.
Oh, they are.
And there's so much you can pack in. So when I came, I was breakdancing at the time. I was an OG breakdancer, and I ended up joining a crew in Northbrook. And there was John Bone, John Driver, Eric Mortensen was part of it. It was fun. And we would go out to the clubs and we'd dance, and I'd jump on the floor and spin around and all kinds of craziness. It was wild. I was trying to find myself, I guess. And then I started playing tennis, the next semester. I was like, well, I might as well, and nailed it.
That's good. That's good. And so talk a little bit about some of the things that you remember about being at Northbrook. Maybe some of the experiences that you had. I know there was something that changed your life there, but before we get to that, what were some of the other things you remember about the school?
I remember school lunches. I remember the big open school lunch and the ramp going up. I loved Northbrook. I really did enjoy it. Gosh, I was a cheerleader. I was in a lot of clubs. I was a bandolera manager. I was on the tennis team. Lots going on. But the thing that really got to me was drama. That was the life changer. I got into drama originally because I was thinking I was going to be a lawyer or something because I like money. And I was like, okay, there's a lawyer. It's a thing to do, you know. And so I took drama because I was going to be speaking and all of that. And I got the lead role in the first play I ever auditioned for. And had to have a British accent. And I'm like, I don't know what a British accent was back then. And so I played Jack Chesney. And it was so great. God, we had so much fun. And yeah, when the curtain fell that night and the applause went up, I was like, oh. This is good. I like this. I want to do this more often. So I did more and more plays. We did Dracula. I was Renfield. I did a musical. What was it called? Shenandoah. I actually sang. I suck at singing. And we did a whole lot of things of Mice and Men, Equus, all kinds of stuff. And just loved every minute of it. And Frank Rice was my teacher, and I thought he was absolutely wonderful. And he really guided me, and he saw a spark in me. And thanks to him, I just kind of fell in love with it all. And that's what propelled me on to the University of Houston, which we can talk about later. But I went on to do drama as a career for, well, now.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about, before we move away from Northbrook, talk a little bit more about, were there other teachers? Did you have any special relationships with any of the principals?
I liked Kathy Bottoms was the tennis coach, and she put up with a lot from me because I had a bit of a temper, but it was always at me. I wasn't mean to other people. I was always so down on myself. I have worked through that. Thank you. Gosh, who else? I'm trying to think of any teachers that really, really stood out for me. Like I said, Principal Matthias, he was vice principal at the time. I forgot the principal's name, but I was in front of him a few times, both of them, and but never gotten really in trouble. I never got caught, the kind of thing. But it was fun. I remember had a kind of a love-hate relationship with Principal Matthias because we went to prom the year before at the Shamrock, and then they tore that down. So the next year, our prom was at this JW Marriott thing at 610 North Loop thing, and we were like, what? They got and we got this. And so I was a little mad, and I wrote a poem in the paper, and the kids were like, oh, yeah, it's funny. And Mr. Matthias didn't think so. But so I'm a writer as well. I've written a couple of books now, so I'm like, I like to write as well. So add that into the mix.
So all in all, you had a great experience at Northbrook, and yeah,
absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
God, oh well, and again, I would say I mentioned this earlier. Becky Magdalena, who was the bandolera teacher, dance instructor, etc. And because I spent a lot of time on the buses after every game, because I was also a cheerleader. So the year that I was a cheerleader, I wasn't being the bandolera manager, but I managed that. So I was on the buses coming home. One of them was my girlfriend at the time, and yeah, it was fun. I had a great time, and especially when the Spring Branch people came over. Whenever Spring Branch closed, it was that year, the first year I got there.
Right.
And so I made some great friends from there that I keep to this day. Yeah, I really loved Northbrook.
That's great. Well, let's talk a little about after Northbrook. Drama became something that was important to you, and you mentioned University of Houston. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I went. I went to the University of Houston and decided I was going to major in drama. So I did. And back then, it was affordable. I mean, I still had to work. I was, tending bar, waiting tables, all that. I was a bartender and a waiter and bartender over at the Black Labrador pub. I worked at the Olive Garden right there in Memorial City for like 3 years as a bartender. I did a lot. And then a Fat Tuesday on Richmond. Woo, that was a party. I was putting myself through college with all of that. And I ended up going, 4 years and lived over in Montrose for a while and had a great time. And I just studied. And I worked with some of the best teachers in the world at the time, like Cecil Pickett. Claude Coe was like movement and mime. And oddly enough, I was in the mime troupe for 2 years. I don't like mime, but I was really good at it, apparently, which is weird, being a voice actor.
Right.
Funky. It's, a lot of amazing things happened there. Some of the people, my teachers taught, like Dennis Quaid, Randy Quaid, Brent Spiner, lots of people. I think Woody Harrelson went there for a little while.
Uh-huh.
But that set me on my path to become professional. About 87, 88, I think it was 88 or so. I decided, okay, well, I'm going to get an agent and do all that stuff. And I started doing commercials and different like training films and industrial films. And then near the end, in 2005, when I moved out, I was in 5 movies over the course of like a 2-year span. I've had scenes with Academy Award winners, 4 of them. This close. We were doing scenes together. Yeah, 2 of them won, by the way. 4 were nominees, 2 of them won, and it was amazing. I was doing things, I was acting and doing what I loved to do, and I was investing in real estate and flipping houses at the same time. So it was a wild time.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. And then I just stayed pro and moved out to LA and pretty much did no more on camera. I did a horrible, horrible movie. Oh boy, that's going to haunt me. But I started doing the voice acting and stuff because it started in Houston, actually. Anime, Japanese anime. There was AD dubbing, and I was on a live action movie, and the actress I was working with was one of the directors there. She said, "Come on, you do all these crazy voices. Come do this thing." And so I've been dubbing Japanese anime for 30 years. So in that world, I'm like an OG star in a teeny tiny niche, which has taken me all around the world, actually, to sign autographs and stuff, which is kind of cool.
And,
I'm actually getting ready to go to Manchester in next month.
So
anyway.
Just for our audience to know, what that means is that you're taking Japanese, what is in Japanese and dubbing the English over it. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
It's dubbing, voiceover, voice acting, dubbing. Yeah.
And you I thought I saw in your bio that you had been voicing one particular person for 2 decades.
3.
3 decades
actually.
now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it in 96. I think it was 95, 96. It was called Evangelion. And I was the English voice of the lead character. And that went on to be a series and then 3 movies. And then later on, they did what they called the rebuilds. They did 3 of those. And then nothing happened for like 13 years. And then Amazon Prime decided they were going to redo all 3 of the rebuilds, and we were going to dub the 4th one, finally. So all the fans were like, yes! And, here I am, how old was I then? I was a 54-year-old man talking like a 13-year-old. It's crazy. So, yeah, it's weird. But that's the weird, wild world that I inhabit.
Yeah. Now, interestingly enough, for anybody in our audience who wants to see it, you are also part of a Netflix series on being dads. And
Yes.
I happened to watch a little bit of one of the episodes. It was great. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. The funny part, let me back up. So one of the other things I do, I have so many things. It's crazy. So I was doing dating and relationship coaching for a while because I was learning to get back into the game after divorce and all that. So, and I've always been into personal growth and development. So I would have audiences whenever I'd go to these conventions, and I would do a panel, which I called it Don't Kill Your Date and Other Cooking Tips, because I love cooking. I always have. And I actually became a chef. But I loved cooking, and I was using that. That's how I dated. And I wrote a book called Food Game, A Man's Ultimate Recipe for Dating Success. Anyway, that gets us to my wife, whom I met there in LA, and she's 19 years younger than me. So when I say I write a book about dating, you might want to read it, So, and so she was amazing. And one of the things, she was also an actress at the time. And you get all these weird things, on casting sites all the time. She's like, hey, I put us in for this thing. I'm like, all right. And it was because I'm 19 years older than her, and I had back surgery in 2004. So they were playing the whole thing. It's like, okay, he's going to become a father at 48, and he's got a back problem, and she's younger. What an interesting couple. Whoa. And they're both coaches and all this. So it was very interesting. What's even crazier is right after we finished that series, one of my friends who's going to have back surgery, they were going to have to go through his throat. And he's a voice actor. He's like, So he did some studying. He found this guy named Dr. John Sarno. We went to the show to see what this was all about. And apparently he wrote a book called Healing Back Pain. I read the book. My pain stopped the next day.
Wow.
Subconscious, and now I'm a master certified NLP coach, so I get the subconscious. So I didn't realize it at the time. So the whole concept of, his back, what's he going to be able to do? I'm like, I'm fine. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, part of my weird life.
And part of that show was also, I think at the time you were 48, maybe, you had your first child.
Yep, I have 2 more now. I've got an 11-month-old right now, too.
Oh, wow.
I just turned 57.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was wild. And so you can see my son being born, on the show. My wife has had 3 births, all free births, no drugs whatsoever, in the tub. The second one, when we were in Australia, the midwife didn't quite make it to the apartment. So he was in the tub. And I went, here you go, honey. So I delivered my second boy.
Talk a little bit about, because you did live in Australia. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, during the pandemonium and COVID and everybody lost their minds, I was appearing at a convention in Melbourne and then up in the Gold Coast of Australia, which was just south of Brisbane. And we pulled in. Things started getting weird in Melbourne and shutting down, and people got real weird. And then we got up to the Gold Coast the day Tom Hanks said he had COVID. And he was in the Gold Coast. He was like blocks away from us. And so the whole world kind of went, oh my God, Tom Hanks can get it. We're all going to die. And it's like, okay, well, let's all calm down. And we were there until the last Qantas flight. And we were supposed to be on that one. And we said, you know what? What if we just stay? It'll blow over in a couple of weeks. We got a 3-month visa. No problem. 2 years later, we were like, this is nuts. But we ended up living 2 blocks from the beach for 2 years.
Wow.
It was a wonderful time. We loved it. And my baby got born, and he didn't get Australian citizenship, but he's an Aussie.
And so how did that change your perspective when you got back to the States?
Well, coming back to LA, I was like, y'all people are nuts. With all due respect and love. The energy was like, no, can't do it. So, and we had decided, we were looking at different places to live anyway. And being from Texas, and my wife always said she was going to marry a Texan. And so we came back home and didn't realize that we were going to live here. We didn't know where we were looking, but we were thinking Texas Hill Country. And then we found New Braunfels, and we're like, okay, we'll live here. It's great. We love it. So now I have donkeys and chickens, and I garden.
Well,
yeah. My wife says I'm a fantastic pioneer wife. I can show you how to can things now.
So what's the future hold? What are you going to be doing?
Gosh. Well, this is my sound studio, so I'm still doing voiceover. I'm looking forward to doing more. And we'll see where that takes us. But right now, I'm kind of focusing on the 11-month-old and my kids, and taking care of them and the family, and doing real estate investments again, throwing that out there. So everything that I learned in Houston, and way better, because
Yeah.
I did some bad deals, but made money. Anyway, so that's what I am here, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the future, but maybe some more books and my podcast. I may get that up going again. I just did a YouTube cooking show for a year called Chow Time. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. So I don't know. It's kind of wide open, and we're very excited about that.
You know, you mentioned to me earlier that when you were looking for your house in New Braunfels, you actually went back to one of your classmates.
Yeah, Robin. So it was Robin Cones, and that's Robin Barker, I think. She went back to that. We were cheerleaders together, and she became a realtor, and I was just like, hey, we're going to come back. You want to look for us? You know, she's like, yeah, sure. So we reconnected, and she found us a house, and we've been in touch ever since. Yeah, well, you know, God bless Facebook, because I have people that all through Northbrook that I would never talk to, but they're there, and they'll, hey, that's funny.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's like, oh God, I remember you. Because there's only one person from Northbrook that I kept close to for the most part. Two. Kind of three. But yeah, it's wild when you go on and you do things. It's like, phew. Unless I had stayed in the same spot, which I didn't, obviously.
Looking back and reflecting on your time at Northbrook and in the school district, you know, what would you? We're hoping that some students will be watching these interviews. What kind of advice would you give? I mean, you had such a varied high school experience with the break dancing, the tennis, the cheerleading, everything you did. Some people have a hard time coming out of their shell. What kind of advice would you give?
You know, it's funny. I get that a lot whenever I'm at these conventions, because a lot of the people that attend these conventions are not exactly gregarious.
Yes.
I am. And the thing is, you know, I always say, you know, you can say the old follow your heart sort of thing. And I think it's really true, but it's almost follow your gut. And, you know, everybody's going to tell you, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. Once you get out of high school, is a different world altogether. And I'm sorry, I love Northbrook, I love high schools, that's wonderful and everything, but they do not get you ready for life. And that's the one part that I would say, and that's probably gotten worse here. But I made really good friendships back then because we didn't have social stuff. We didn't have all that junk. It was you hung out with your friends.
Yeah.
You talked. You went to parties. We went to keg parties and crazy parties. And our big thing was cruising Westheimer, or, you know, was out there by over the other side of Spring Woods. There was a parking lot over there, and you'd cruise around. Hey, what's going on? Anything happen? No. See ya. Brr, you know. And it was like, that was what it was.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. I remember, and there's no proof. So that's cool.
That's right.
Nothing to get us in trouble, but, you know, we had a really good time, and don't take that for granted is what I would say. You know, look up from your phone and talk to your friends. You know, don't get mired down in I went to hang out with my friend and all you guys do is play video games and not even talk to each other. That's not connecting. Get outside, go do stuff. I'm from the Gen X world where, you know, we would get on our bikes and leave in the morning. Bye, Mom. You know, be home by the time the lights come on, and we're just out roaming around, you know, playing ball in the street or whatever. So take the time, you know, and meet your friends and hang out, talk. We don't do enough of that. I think that's what I really say, because the thing that's going to prepare you in the future are relationships.
Uh-huh.
And that's something that I teach to business people. It's like, you have to work on those relationships. And I think that's more valuable than anything else.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Spike, for reminding us how powerful the journey can be from classrooms to careers. And also, I want to thank our audience for spending time with us. We encourage you to continue watching and share more stories from remarkable graduates of Spring Branch Independent School District, because every legacy begins somewhere.
This has been From Classrooms to Careers, presented by the Spring Branch ISD Alumni Foundation, made possible by the generous support of First Community Credit Union.